Hey everybody and welcome. We are here at E3 2015. It's the final day. We've made it. The marathon is almost over. I'm Ray Carsol, joined by Jeff Canada, Jess Villarreal, and of course Adam Sessler. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Awesome.
So lots of great stuff on the floor that we've seen so far, but a lot of also story-driven narrative games. So many great things. I know Adam, Jeff, you guys saw Uncharted 4. Please, you got to tell us about this.
That's
kind of how you feel after you see it. So they showed, they showed the demo at the E3 press conference, but I don't think people realize that is less than half.
That's like the first 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it gets better and better. I mean, I had to pinch myself while watching it to realize this had not stopped. It was still going on. It is some of the most fluid visual action storytelling I have ever seen in any game and maybe a movie.
I was saying it's one of the best action sequences in any medium I have ever seen. If that was just a movie, I would think it was one of the greatest action sequences in a movie. It is that good, and it just keeps going and going and going.
I mean, I don't think it could be a movie. The only way it works is because it's a game, and human beings are not involved in trying to pull it off.
And it's not a cutscene.
No.
It's somebody is playing that.
Yeah.
Right? I was talking to the Naughty Dog guys last night, and there's a sequence that you see in the demo where I don't even know if I want to spoil it, but anyway, so Nathan Drake gets himself on the back of a truck, and he leaps from one truck, and that truck explodes. And they were telling me, oh, you don't have to leap into that truck. You can leap into any of the trucks.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's all completely dynamic. Oh. It's all being played, and it looks like this incredibly well choreographed, precise action sequence, but you have control and choice in every of those moments.
You see a touch of it. It was in the press conference demo. When they're driving through the town, you can see that there's other routes they could be taking. I do not understand technically how you pull that off, but it's almost like they structured it more. I mean, they have a more powerful console where within those action moments, you have a lot more diversity of how you're able to pull them off, but you still get the benefit of Naughty Dog telling you a story and always guiding you along. I mean, it's probably one of the best cases why all games should not be open world.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I will also say it is one of the best paced action sequences I've ever seen. You have this incredibly dynamic chase sequence that leads to a human being in a chase sequence out of a vehicle, sort of vulnerable and in peril, and then all of that leads to an incredible crash. He's trapped in underneath his Jeep, and the camera is zoomed very close, and all of a sudden everything is very still and very quiet, and fire bursts out in the Jeep, and we are terrified, but all the kinetic stuff has stopped for a second. We have this moment to just take it all in, and then we're back into the action sequence starts again, and we're on a motorcycle. It is unbelievable.
Wow.
And once again, it's this weird pacing. You have that wonderful ebb and flow, but when he would go from shooting to melee, just it felt so natural that everyone said how Uncharted 2 was a game that other people could watch you play. This is really that game. It's so impressive.
Yeah, I mean,
Can we go there? Can you guys take us over there right now?
Yeah.
Like, let's
Yeah,
take
let's
the
just
whole
go.
team
Yeah.
over there and then go watch this
Come on,
right
we're gonna
now.
see Uncharted
Well,
4.
All 30 of
Field
us.
trip.
We're gonna be like, what?
actually, Sony is doing a really interesting thing at their booth. They have one line for people to see the behind closed doors stuff, and you see all three of their big presentations: Last Guardian, Uncharted 4, and Horizon Zero Dawn, which is another one of these story-based games that I think has such an interesting narrative hook. It's post-apocalyptic, but not in the way we've ever seen before. It's really fresh and vibrant, and it feels like this world full of life in the
Like
aftermath.
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Three shells.
Yeah,
Three shells.
yeah.
How you use them, I don't know.
It's like nice and peaceful, and it's like a lush world. Okay, that sounds great.
And I mean, obviously, we only saw a snippet of it, and we don't know that much. But if the combat is what we saw in the demo and the extended one at the Sony booth, where it's not so much I'm going to go through a ton of enemies, but I'm going to think and strategize and take down more or less persistent boss battles, that's a really interesting and fun way to reapproach what I'm assuming is an open world experience.
Yeah, it's Dinosaur Hunter, but fun.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I actually, speaking of narratives, I got to see King's Quest.
Oh,
Yes.
I love King's Quest.
Yeah, no, and it was a adorable writing. I mean, they really did an amazing job, and you can tell like the developers really are fans and wanted to pay as much respect as to like Sierra and Ken Williams as much as they could, because it's so perfect. And the voice acting that they have in there, obviously they have like Christopher Lloyd as King Graham.
They have voice acting.
Christopher Lloyd as
My memory of King's Quest is a game that kind of implies a game. I mean, the technology was so rudimentary that you as the player had to fill in all the blanks to actually make it a fun, dynamic experience.
Yeah.
It was, for its time, it was spectacular.
Oh, of course.
16 colors, Adam.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, no, and so Christopher Lloyd brings so much charm to the character, and then all of the homages to the previous games. If you were a fan of the previous games, they really reward you, like as a fan, but they also kind of make it attainable for like the new genre, or the new generation, I should say, of gamers. And there's so many just like puns and just like very cute dialogue to move the story along in a really, really adorable pace.
Another interesting game I saw yesterday from Sony yet again, I believe it's called Until Dawn. It's very much out of the David Cage school. And I interviewed a producer who did work with David Cage on Beyond and Heavy Rain, but this is like, it's a horror story.
Yeah.
So the idea of having characters that you can lose, it makes so much more sense because that's part of the genre.
Yeah.
That, you know.
You get emotionally invested in these characters.
Or you don't. You know, in a good horror movie, there's always the guys you don't like. And you're like, you're going to die and I cannot wait for that. It really looks like it's taken that great idea and push it a step further. I think also it's nice to see that we're still willing to experiment on these games that some people don't think are a game. I don't think it's really a point of debate whatsoever. It's just kind of an interesting experience that's all about story.
Yeah. I had a chance to try the Overkill Walking Dead game,
wow.
which is in VR. It's the Starbreeze VR.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting the way they're handling it from a narrative perspective, because you play as a character. You play as the character you never play as in the zombie game. The character you usually play as is always trying to decide whether or not to kill or whether or not to leave behind. This time you're playing as the character that got bit by the zombie, and you decide to, you got bit in the leg, and you decide to amputate your own leg so you can try to prevent the zombie, curse virus from spreading. So you are at the mercy of everyone else moving you around because you're in this wheelchair. And you're in VR, and you have a severed leg, and you look down and you see your severed leg, and then the AI characters in the game are moving you around in the wheelchair, and so you're completely helpless and at the mercy of where they push you. And of course, zombies are coming out at you, and you have a shotgun and you're shooting them in this chair.
I played it too, and they give you actually this shotgun peripheral that has all sensors on it as well. I think I almost broke something because I got like crazy with it. I'm like swinging it around.
Oh yeah. There's a point at the end where the person who's pushing you around gets attacked by a zombie, and you're just sitting there and you're helpless, and then the zombies are slowly crawling at you. And I took the shotgun and was trying to hit them, and they had people in the real world like touching your leg to mess with you, and I was like, I almost hurt some poor person.
What, you didn't? I would have like jerked my knee on accident, just like out of reflex.
It was very disturbing.
Wow.
I mean, it's so effective.
It's already VR, so this whole Roger Corman nonsense, there's just no need for that.
They should do like haunted house like experiences like that, like during Halloween, like instead of like the people jumping out and scaring you, like they should just put you in VR and have people touch you and poke at you.
Or maybe just flour. I would like to have flour. Field. I'm all for that.
You were actually sitting in a real wheelchair too, and they would just shake it back and forth slightly when you're moving in the game, so it felt real. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience for sure. Something that I played yesterday was Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and I know that we've all seen the Assassin's Creed games before. I know we kind of have the formula down, but what's interesting is that they're getting rid of multiplayer altogether. They're getting rid of co-op. They're just focusing on the single player. They're just focusing on the narrative, going back to their roots. And I think even in the little snippet that I saw, it shows. You know, you have to switch between the two protagonists, the twins, Jacob and Evie Fry. They both have really distinct personalities, and I really like the fact that there's no more co-op, there's no more multiplayer. This is Assassin's
Just
Creed at its
focus
in its
on-
purest,
No,
finest
that's-
form.
I don't think we can talk about narrative without talking about Fallout 4.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Right? That
Oh,
small
yeah.
little
Oh, yeah,
game. My goodness, the fact that you start before the bomb hits, it's such a crazy narrative hook, and the fact that it's this world that's a little bit different than ours, has technology that's beyond ours. I found that what they showed is so evocative of, trying to get into that shelter and then coming out of the shelter. The dog, of course, is just
Well, and a voice character.
yeah.
You're playing a voice character. I mean, that is. I mean, I was working with Bethesda when we did the press conference. I don't even know that much about it, but that really, from just a technical, from a design standpoint, is a huge deal.
And the fact that they have thousands of the most common names, and
Yeah.
it'll call you by actual name if you want. That is amazing.
what?
Just
Oh,
that small
man.
touch is crazy.
No, it really. Oh, and the whole idea that you're building your. There's a whole other aspect of the
You
game.
build your whole
building
community, your own post-apocalyptic community, and you build your own city. Like, that's amazing.
You know what I wanted out of a 200+ hour role-playing game? An infinite amount of other stuff to do.
I know.
Why do you hate my free time, Bethesda?
I just like the idea that I can be an interior decorator of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
What can I do with this stained mattress? Oh, let's put it that way. Perfect feng shui right here in my lean-to.
We have an abundance of riches this year. I can't remember an E3 where I left feeling like there's so much to play and so much to play soon. I mean, I really commend Bethesda for the way they handled the rollout of Fallout 4, the fact that they kept quiet about it until it was really ready, and they're like, not only is this game, are we announcing this game, but you're going to be able to buy it this year? Yeah. That's so great.
There are certain benefits to be a privately held company.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the EAs and some of these companies would like to do that, but they really just can't, not with all the
Interesting.
shareholders.
Yeah, but there's so many games. I think Horizon for me is a real standout because this game I didn't know about. Mirror's Edge 2, I'm very, very excited for, and the Horizon, the horizon of VR. The fact that VR is really happening and it
here.
really is exciting to me. I'm excited for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. So I guess on that note, we're done. We survived.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sleep is
sleep.
now time for sleep.
I know. Well, I enjoyed working with you, gentlemen. Thank you so
It's
much.
been a pleasure.
It was
It's
a
been an
wonderful
absolute
year.
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And of course, thank you guys for watching. So for Adam, Jess, Jeff, I'm Ray Carcillo. We'll see you next year.
All right.